It's early morning, almost 7 a.m. The sun is just rising over the ridges. Actually, it's been up for about an hour. However, my morning hymn to the sun, cast yourself back down into the dark abyss. Let the moon rise. Let the shadows dominate the earth. And let our master be channeled. That's right. Today, we are reviewing some straight up fucking black metal. Lawless Darkness is the most recent album, 2010, that was released by Watain. It was a black metal band from Europe. This was released on June the 7th, and as of right now, I have actually not seen it in my store. So, you might be wondering, how in the world could I get an album of this magnitude? Well, sometimes you gotta cheat. Now, Watain is a band that I've heard a lot about over the past couple of years, but never really got the chance to sample myself. However, whenever I did read the comments that were listed, I was a little bit skeptical. From what people had said on the internet or in magazines, there is a certain element to their early work that kind of has very screeching vocals, the type that, kind of sounds like a cat is squealing into a voice box that's inside of a tomb. So this is something that kind of threw me off a little bit, kind of turned me off a little bit, and maybe why I distanced myself from this album and this band until now. However, upon request by one of my loyal subscribers, I picked up this album and gave it a chance. And let me tell you something, I'm really glad that I did. This is 10 tracks of pure satanic bliss. If you are into darkness, if you're into black metal, this is a must-own for you. There's a couple things that I love about this album that really stand out, but there are a couple things that kind of have a couple shortcomings. Now, for one, this album contains fantastic leads, not to mention excellent vocals. This is something that I was really surprised with after reading all the negative comments. I figured that the vocals were going to be something that I was really going to be turned off by within this band. And it's something that really shocked me. The vocals are very raspy, they are very crisp, very clean, very well produced. And I'll tell you what, it definitely bore no resemblance to what was being told to me. I didn't hear any type of screeching throughout this whole entire album, and that to me was definitely a good sign. It was something that I definitely got into. It was almost as though he was entering more of a Marduk state of mind, and that's something that's really good for this band because, of course, Marduk is one of the most well-respected black metal bands on the planet today. And the fact that Watain is able to attain this is fucking fantastic. It's something that definitely gives me a lot of really hope for this band, and I'm really hoping also that they're not picked up by a major record label and caused simultaneously to become fucked to hell. But let's just enjoy this while it stands. The leads in this particular album really remind me of a couple of different items. It's really kind of a stretch of the imagination somewhat, but I do hear a lot of Bloodbath in there, but I also hear a lot of the old leads from Opeth's first two albums that really were geared a little bit more towards black metal. That's right, we're talking Orchid, we're talking Morning Rise level material here. This is dark stuff, this is sinister stuff, the leads are expertly crafted together, and it's not one of those black metal albums where they're just playing the same little chords over and over again, the same 6 notes that perhaps the most basic of guitar master or guitar beginner, should I say, could play and perform. No, this is actually done very technically well. It has a lot of character to it, and that's something that really causes this album to shine. Now, if you think that this is an album that's going to be short and sweet like some other black metal releases that you're used to, well, this is the farthest stretch of the imagination that you've probably had, and you probably should murder yourself and bludgeon yourself with a sharp object. Because this is long motherfucking blackened satanic metal. 73 minutes, 27 seconds. The longest release by this band by far, by nearly 20 minutes. That's right, they've evolved from 30 to 40 minute long albums to 50 minute long albums, which was their last album, to now 73:27. Jesus fuck Christ. This means that if you are a big fan of the black and satanic metal genre, you are in absolute hell. And that to you is heaven. Because this is absolute, pure, unadulterated, fuck you, black metal. And you gotta love it too. I mean, you just gotta love the lyrics. Whenever you read some of the lyrics to this stuff, I mean, come on. People say that there's only so many ways you can say, "Oh, Leviathan, oh, Dark Lord, Azeroth, channel through me during our dark ritual." But let me tell you something. There's creative ways of doing it. This band definitely fucking proved it. Check out their lyrics whenever you get the opportunity. They're definitely very strong. Now, there are a couple principal complaints that I've heard about this album, and from listening to it myself, I have to say that I disagree with some of them, but I do have a few of my own. One of the most principal complaints on this album was that it's a really good album, but it's nothing really too special, and I kind of have to disagree with this complaint because I really think that in a genre where it's really difficult to kind of find any type of real character unless you really dig deep, this is definitely an album that stands out. It's really, Watain is really, I guess you could say that they're really putting themselves as the leaders of the new forefront of the genre, the leaders of the new wave of black and heavy metal. And you know, it really makes a very positive statement for this particular genre because a lot of people have claimed that it has gotten a little bit oversaturated with bands that really don't flow creatively with this or just repeat simplistic ideas and really don't add anything new to the mix. I think that the amount of technicality here and the throwback to the 80s and early 90s is definitely a very positive image here. You definitely hear them trying to do their best Emperor or Immortal impression from back in the day whenever they're trying to do something new, different, and unique, and that's something that's exceptionally grim on this particular album, and it is definitely a giant positive. Now, my one principal complaint on this record is that since it is 73 minutes long, it does tend to drag a little bit. This is an album that definitely tires on you a little bit if it's not something that you're really deep and dedicated into. If you're not a huge black metal fan, this is something that can turn you off. It's something that really can sort of set you astray a little bit. Your mind starts to wonder. You think that maybe there's other albums out there that you could listen to, and maybe you're prone to switch over. However, if you love this style of music, like I said before, you are in absolute hell, and you're loving every fucking second of the flames licking your skin. So all I can say is one thing and one thing alone. Blackened death metal, or blackened heavy metal in general, is back. Watain said that it would be back June the 7th would be the rebirth of true black metal. I personally have to agree with them. And I gotta end this review on a lighter note with a joke. Who is Bruce Lee's favorite black metal band? Watain!